Well, let's take a look at how we can apply this in our home network. Now, in our home network, I set up something that's very similar to most people's home networks. I want to take a look at that system, examine the MAC addresses of our devices, examine the IP addresses, the subnet mask, and the default gateway configuration of our devices. And I also want to introduce some utilities like ping that will allow us to determine if a resource is online or not. What we should expect to see is that all the devices on our internal network should all have an IP address of 192.168.104 dot something. Okay, my workstation is going to have .5, my tablet has .9, and my router has .1. In the demonstration, what I'd like to do is examine the components of our home network and addresses of those devices by looking at the command prompt, an ipconfig command, the ping command, and we'll even jump on a website to view our wireless router's IP configurations as well. So I've come to my desktop, and at my desktop, what I want to do here is first, I want to view the IP address configuration for my device. To do that, I'm going to use the command prompt. And the command prompt will quickly become your best friend when trying to troubleshoot PC issues. Now, my PC here is a Windows 10 PC, but fundamentally, on any Windows workstation that you use, whether it be Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10, you're going to have a similar experience with a command prompt, and the commands that you need to use do not change that much. To open the command prompt, what I do is I'm going to use the Windows search feature. I have this attached directly to my taskbar on the bottom. Others, you may need to click the Windows icon to get it to pop up and do some searching. Ultimately, if you type CMD, what you'll get is you will get the command prompt desktop app. If we launch that, I'm going to make it full screen so we can all see here. We'll get a command prompt with a blinking cursor. And what we can do here is this is where we can issue commands. Now, if I want to see how my PC is currently configured with an IP address, I issue the command ipconfig. And ipconfig will list off all of the interfaces on my device, as well as the IP address configurations for each one of them. Now, there are multiple adapters. There are multiple network interface cards on my device. Some of them are actually not even real. The very first one on our list here is the Ethernet adapter, Ethernet 0. On your workstation, this could be called many things. It could be called the local area network adapter. It could be called Ethernet 0 as well. It may even be named the product name of your network interface card. Just know that each device is going to have its own name associated with it. Underneath each adapter, here we have our Ethernet adapter. Here's Ethernet adapter Bluetooth network connection. All right, so this is a Bluetooth connection that we have here. We won't get into the tunnel adapter for Teredo from Microsoft. That's a Microsoft solution to IPv6. We are going to tackle a proper solution to IPv6 when we implement it by just turning it on and supporting it in our network. By default, though, you're going to see this tunnel adapter in Windows. And here's another tunneling adapter for ISOTAP for the CCNA lab, which is the name that I've given to this particular network. And this adapter is built for doing IPv6 connections as well when we may only have an IPv4 network. Now, we haven't talked at all about IPv4 and IPv6. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't panic. What we're going to do is in the very next course, we're going to go into so much detail about IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. It might make you cry a little. It also may make you smile a little because you may understand things at a whole new level that you didn't expect. So let's go back up to my top adapter here, my Ethernet adapter. This is the one that I'm most concerned about. A lot of times in data networking, we have to figure out what to pay attention to, or more so, what to not pay attention to. Since we're working with our network here, we're just simply going to ignore our Bluetooth adapter and our two tunneling adapters. We're going to focus exclusively on our Ethernet adapter. And right here we can see 192.168.104.5 is the address. The subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and my default gateway 192.168.104.1. This is exactly like we saw in the slideshow presentation of my drawing. Now, my workstation can have all this information, but because it has an IP address and a default gateway configured, does not necessarily mean that we can communicate with other devices on the network.